Hi all, welcome to my channel. It was real fun work in this project as I'm a fan of these panel printers. To begin with, I'm deleting all the existing objects in the scene. A fresh scene is so great to start with. I hope the viewers has a basic understanding of the Blender. So after deleting everything, I'm saving the scene. And now press Shift A and access the create menu and add a UV sphere. So initially we require only segments of 12 by 8 as uh, we are going to subdivide it later and increase the scale means dimensions into around 1270 meters. So it's going to be very big. You can see when you zoom out, it has gone out of the clipping area. So to modify that, I access the sidebar and apply the clipping area. That inside the clip start as a 10 meter and end to 10,000 so that you can see everything properly. And I rename the uh, sphere to Earth. Now it's time to change the render engine because initially it will be EV. If it is EV, then change its cycles, and we need the experimental feature set and the device to GPU compute. Uh, well, the noise threshold you can set it to 2.1 and max samples to 32 for render and samples as 8 for the viewport. Now the next step is to add a subdivision modifier to it. So you can see, and since we have accessed the experimental sets, we have the option for adaptive subdivision. So that actually will subdivide the surface according to the distance from the camera, so that is a bit lightweight compared to the ordinary subdivision. Now we'll add a camera to it. So we have a camera and position it as per your requirement so that the complete earth is visible properly. So yeah, again you need to modify the clipping area for the camera too, because it's basically we have a very huge object inside, and the clipping area would be the start would be zero point 0.1 and end by kind of 10 by default, and we need to make it to 10 and 10,000, just like how we did for the perspective view, so that the entire earth is visible. And since it's a huge object, I changed the focal length is kind of 125. As that is up to you, you can decide as per the view the you want to get it rendered. I'm just scaling up the camera so that the camera I can translate it properly inside the scene, because the scene is damn huge. So aligning it as per my requirement, as per my taste. Hope that is fine. A slight movements here and there would be great. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, rotating a bit. Yeah, now it's time to add sunlight. Shift A, light and sunlight, and I will change my viewport view into the light mode, heat mode, so I can see the light. So you can see how adaptive subdivision works here. So you don't have to worry about that. Adjusting my light so that I can have a good view. Rotating a bit, but it's just up to you whether you how you want to adjust it. Based on how the render you want, you can adjust the sunlight by rotating it in whatever direction. But make sure that the sunlight is in the pivot point, it's in the center of the viewport or inside the earth. I'm just checking that my preferences are set, my system settings are set. Since I'm working with a GTX card, I will go with the CUDA settings. Now we have access the shader editor. It's time to shade the earth. Again, we have to modify the clipping so you can see it. So the first thing is to we need to add a shader to the earth. Select the earth sphere, adjusting light a bit. A new shader is added. It's a printable BSDF. So now to this shader we are going to add our texture nodes and other uh, nodes to it to make the complete shading setup. The first thing is to add the color texture, the albedo. So the description box has links linked to the texture files. So it's a color, that's a color map, and I'll connect the color to the base color of the shade. So now you can see the texture is visible and this is pretty much good. Adjusting the light strength so that it is visible properly. Yeah, cool. Now I'm creating another image texture, image node texture, and adding the topography. Topography this is that is used for the displacement, and that's I chose a 10K map as my system. Machine is not that kind of a higher end, and the color space is set to non color, and a displacement node is added, and its color is connected to the height, and the displacement node displacement connected to the displacement of the surface, as you can see in the node editor. Arranging it a bit, so you can see the surface has been modified with the displacement, but it is not very good. It's not a proper one. So I go to the settings of the displacement and the surface displacement. Have modified to displacement and bump. Initially it was a bump, so you can see that a kind of a weird thing has happened. That's because the scale is not one. It is supposed to be one. So I have used Control A and selected the earth and apply the scale. So you can see that it is a pretty good displacement has happened. So I'm adjusting the light a bit so that you guys can see the displacement properly. Now I'm adjusting the scale a bit so that it is evident. So you can see the displacement properly over the surface. And this looks good. So it is up to you whether how much you want to have the displacement. Play with the value and you can find out a reasonable value for yourself. I'm just checking all the areas whether it has came properly. Well, I'm quite satisfied with the current setup. Rotate the light a bit and look over the surface whether you have could find any kind of artifacts because of the displacement. So adjusting the value based on that would be well, South Africa is a great place to look at because it has got a lot of displacement in the forest. So the height map is really evident in that particular region. So I'm just having a look at it. So again, I'm adding an image texture. It's time to add the spec map or the roughness map. So I'm selecting the land ocean map or specular map, which is pretty black and white with the kind of streets over there. And I must connect the color to the roughness. So you can pretty see the you can see the node setup here. So I've updated the setup so roughness so they can see the spec has been cut off. Now I'm adding a map range node here and I'm adjusting the value a bit so they can have a nice spec over there. You can just play with the values and make sure that you get the right one. I changed it to the lit mode so that I can see this thing. And now I've copied this entire Earth, and a new sphere has been created. I renamed it as atmosphere. So the atmosphere gives a reflection to into the sea and everywhere. So I created a shader for the atmosphere and deleted the BSDF and created a volume scatter. Sorry, that was wrong. That's volume info. Think. Oh no, the wrong one. So it's a volume scatter I need. And I connected the volume to the volume and change the color to a bit bluish and reduce the density so that I can view the earth under it with a bluish tint. So the atmosphere gives the reflection of the sea. So now it looks, yeah, it's a, it's good to see. So now we have the atmosphere as well as the earth. Now there's an issue with the sea. Normally the sea don't have the bluish color. It should be colorless, and the atmosphere should reflect to give the color of the sea. So in order to do that, I'm adding a hue saturation node. I must remove the saturation of that sea, just the sea, and connect it to the color node. Now I've, I connect the spec map to the factorial of the hue saturation and reduce the saturation value to 0. Now you can see that the land area is has the color, it is saturated, and the sea part is completely grayish. Now when atmosphere is turned on, you can see the color has been put on back. So the atmospheric reflection gives a color to the sea. Nice, it looks good right now. It's getting better. Yeah, just having a look. Now the other thing I want is, okay, again I'm applying the scale because it could cause issues. Now I copy the earth and paste it in another one, and that is the clouds. So for atmosphere, I put the scale is at 1280 at 10 meter greater than that, and it is the clouds is something in between. So 1275 is the dimensions I gave for the clouds in all directions, in all axes. So again, I have added a shader. Now we import the image texture of the clouds. It's a 21K cloud that is a bit heavy. Yeah, it's getting low. Yeah. Again, the color space I changed into non-color. I don't want any color to the clouds. I'm making sure that the spec map and the displacement have the color space as non-color. But going back and forth. Now we connected the color to the base color of the principal BSD of the clouds. Now we can see the clouds on the screen. Yeah, that's pretty good. Very nice to see. But it is opaque. We want the other black region to be cut off. I've added a displacement node so that the clouds must have some kind of a displacement. And again, connect to displacement to this displacement of material output. So I can see the displacement has taken effect. Adjust the value as per the requirement because these are clouds, so you don't have to give a bigger value, just like how we did for the land. Now the clouds are transparent. For to give the transparency, we have added transparency BSDF and a mixed shader. So basically, we have removed the BSDF. BSDF is not required. That is unnecessary. So we're connecting everything to the mixed shader. So the color we have connected to the factorial and the transparency BSDF to the shader, one of the shader now of the mix shader. You can see it staying effect, and the cloud has kind of subsurface scattering. The light could pass through it. So then I connect the BSDF to the other shader node, flipping it a bit, switching back and forth. Yeah, then you can see now the entire clouds with the black area got removed with nice displacement, and the light gets scattered through the surface. You can adjust the scatter subscattering value to make sure that the uh, cloud behaves like cloud. Looks brilliant. I really like it. Switching off the atmosphere and clouds to have a look at the Earth once again. So you can see some unwanted specular glossy reflections are coming out of the land. So remove that. To remove that, I'm adding a map node between the map range and the shader, and I change it to multiply, and I'm adjusting the value so that to make sure that I get the right blend and balance. Adjusting the map range too. So both nodes on a combination and adjustment of the values gives you the right result. So you can see it over the screen. Yeah, that seems to be great. It is not affecting the land area as much as it was. At the same time, it gives kind of a glossy effect over the seep area. You can zoom in and find it out. Still some pointy stuffs. Okay, I'm adjusting the value bit. Yeah, that seems to be great. So we have removed that glossy reflections from the land area. Now it is only the sea part has that glossy one. Adjust the value to suit your requirements. Now it's time to add some lights on the dark. So on the night time, you can see the lights are lit over the planet Earth on different area, on different cities, large cities, and different countries. If you might have seen the views from the ISS, and it's so great. So we are setting up a night lights, which that only gets revealed based on the sun direction. So I'm adding the I've added the image texture now and added the light lights. So I connected the color to the emission strength, so you can see that it is lit. Again, the color space should be non-color, so it's all lit. But the problem is that it is lit everywhere irrespective of the sun position. The daytime and nighttime, all the lights are kind of lit. So we must have to make sure that it is only lit on the darker part of the earth. So based on for that, I'm adding a texture coordinate node and a normal node. And in the object, I pick the sun. So based on that sun position, sun is the guiding point, and the object I connected to the normal of the normal node. I'm adding a math node. Here, the dot is connected to one value and the color to the other value, and that is connected to the emission strength. But you can see that it's completely whitish and everywhere list. So I'm adding a map range in between, adjusting its values. You can have a look at the values whatever I'm putting here. Yeah, it's started to work. So the white part, what you see is the darker part of the earth. The sun is lit from the other side. So it is now identifying the normals. So then I add a black body here, which gives and is connected to the color emission color. So that controls the light color based on the temperature what we give. So now you can see only the dark area is lit and the bright areas are unlit. Cool. That's it. So now I'll just connect the black body color to the emission color and adjust the temperature. 3000 something somewhere around 3000 is a great value. I need a kind of yellowish light. 3200 would be a great value. Okay, now switching everything back. So that is the complete Earth setup. So we have the Earth, the clouds, and the atmosphere with light based on sun. So you can see when I move the sun, the lights are turning on and off. Oh, that's so cool. Now let's go for a render. I believe my since my CPU and my machine is not that great to have a streaming setup as well as a render going simultaneously. I'll just get off the rendering right now and will uh, give the render at last. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye bye.